Another person who bounced back here is the Honorable General Tumukunde.
He's a historical, extremely intelligent, extremely eloquent as they come, and very connected to the HE and the family through marriage, actually.
Okay.
Though he's very, very assertive. This is where I think a lot of people get it wrong, to imagine that you cannot be an insider in the Museveni universe and also sometimes dissent and disagree with the mainstream position. Because in 2006, we had there was need to change the constitution to that was 2006.
Yeah,
I was still in school, but I was very keen and following that thing of age term limit. You know, General Museveni was supposed to leave the presidency in 2006 because the constitution had introduced 2 terms, elective terms, 96 to 2006. He had to leave. So people were very disappointed that he changed his mind and opted to stay. General Tumukunde, who is married to a very close relative of the First Lady, was the first person to come out. And it was risky. Because he's not only a family member, but he's also a serving army officer. He had not retired. But he took the risk. He took the risk. He called him out repeatedly. Not just in meetings, not talking to people in his office. He went on media. He went on Radio 1. There was a man called Kalundi Serumaga Robert Spectrum, hosted him. He made his case very forcefully, saying this is not what we fought for. He took really a very strong stand, drew the line in the sand, and said this is not acceptable. Even when he knew the risk of doing that, then you will hear people, I'm happy we are transitioning from that phase of our politics to Koya Western Union. Who can take that risk? He was a Mnyangole, but he took it. And it was not Katemba. He was genuine. And he paid the price. There's something called the officer's mess. He was detained and kept under that detention for years. General Tumukunde is a historical, like we had hinted earlier. He's one of those younger people who left Makerere and went to the bush direct. You know, the day he did his last paper, the next day he was on his way to the bush and did a lot of work there, to the extent that he got even injured. He actually lives with a bullet in one of his legs.
That's interesting. He finished his exams today and tomorrow he went to the bush.
Political science from Makerere. You know, General Museveni was very revolutionary. He used the words and got those young people to really buy his messaging. They believed the only way they had to help their country as young people was to really fight, because he believed they must have the country first before they can fight for positions. The country itself was not there anymore. So he goes to the bush and came back from when they got government and was in security, in intelligence. You know, intelligence obukesi kubanga era ne munsiko balinga bakunganya information Kagame, this Kazola, you know, they would look for information. You know, intelligence is very important in a struggle, even in a political struggle like the one of Bobby Wine. You need intelligence, because if you don't have intelligence, you can imagine what would happen if you're coming from northern Uganda and you have to cross Karuma with a vehicle without matala. So Tumukunde, I think, belonged to that. And even when they came to government, he's one of the pioneer leaders of the ISO, you know, those things of intelligence gathering. And so he one time became the Director General ISO. And General Kayanja was his vice. And he belongs to that group of intellectuals in the military. He's a very proud person. But let me tell you something. You cannot be a student of law, really, from Makerere, and you don't feel proud, you know. That alone comes with a lot of pride. It's you pride, man, because you really go through a lot at that school. So, he's a very proud person, very intellectual. Despises mediocrity. You really have to be intelligent. to be eloquent, to find favor really in his universe. He is very intellectual. Despite his mediocrity, he wants people who deliver results. And he is also advantaged because he has all of those credentials I've mentioned, but he also married in power. You know, people can look for power, but some people marry in power.
Why do you mean by marrying in power?
He married into power because he's connected to the first family through marriage.
Okay.
Because his wife is related to the first lady of the country. Yeah, so he's almost a family member, though he has always been very, very assertive. Very assertive. He's one of those people who for a long time believed people must stick to why they went to the bush. Those ideals which made Museveni popular. Those ideals which caused the younger students at Makerere to look at Dr. Obote with contempt, to despise the UPC. That ideal country which they believed had to be delivered at the end of the war. So in 2001 to 2006, that was supposed to be the last term of General Museveni as president. And everybody prepared. People looked forward to bidding him farewell. You know, I told you a story of Mugabe when a BBC man asked him, when are you saying farewell to the people of Zimbabwe? And he said, but where are the people of Zimbabwe going?
Meaning I'm still around, so
the whole country was looking forward to bidding farewell to General Museveni. And then there are people who became observant, who became cautious, people like Besigye and the Tumukundes, who believed that General Museveni was most likely going to change his mind and stay on, which would amount to breaching the expectations of the Bush War, the reasons why the revolution was there. So some people, you know, preferred to give him a benefit of doubt. Let's see how it goes. General Tumukunde is one of those who believed this was a red line. It had been crossed. That means he's a principled person.
Very principled.
It takes principle. Because today we oppose government on Twitter, on TikTok. Those things. This man was a serving army officer, was a brigadier, has previously been the head CMI, that intelligence thing of the military. He's been in ISO. He's still a serving military officer. He's a brigadier. And you know, those serving officers, unless you are MK, to speak out, it's costly. It comes with consequences. So he goes out. He speaks his mind. He risked. He said, look, this is not correct. This is not acceptable. This is a departure from why we went to war. This is not what the peasants died for somebody to be president forever. So he goes to Radio 1 initially. There's a program called Spectrum. He went there and gave his views. He rallied the country. He called upon Ugandans to really get up and resist, because he said this is repugnant. This is unacceptable. We cannot change the constitution. This guardrail we have, we've never had a peaceful transfer of power. You know, this history is very important.
Yeah, very, very important.
Now, from there he went to CBS, repeating and amplifying the same talking points he had given at Radio 1. And as you can expect, I'm sure he was also aware, the CIC, the commander-in-chief, responded. He responded by getting him locked up. He was detained at officers' mess in Kololo for years. From that, because this started in 2003 there, you can go in the library and see in those old newspapers. The debate started really, it was on. So, he was locked up in officers' mess. And for more than 10 years, really, he was
in 2006.
But the debate started earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. Because in 2006, General Museveni was simply expected to go to Kololo and bid farewell to the country and hand over the thing to a new president. Because the term limits required that he would do only 10 elective terms. 96, 2001, 2000 to 2006. So Tumukunde was already in. Actually, he didn't even participate in the elections of 2006, which to him is when the country was supposed to expect a new president. So he stayed with that. You know, being put on trial is very costly, because your liberties are taken away. You cannot travel. You cannot fend for your family. He's a family man. Certainly, he only had his salary and his good connections and relationships,
which was
individual. And in this part of the world, as we know, when you take on the CIC, because of the risks, even if friends depart, they leave you. You remain on your own. But Tumukunde paid all of that price for all of those years. Because all it required for him to regain his freedom was to signal readiness to regret, to apologize, and retract his condemnation of the CIC. CIC means commander-in-chief, you know. So, but he didn't do it. He paid the price for all of those years. I do not think there are many younger people today, the version of the struggle we have today, those people who are doing the struggle today, I don't think many of them would pay a price like that one. That shows you he's a guy who has strong convictions at heart. He was now dying for his convictions, his views. So, of course, the charge was that you engaged in politics the way MK does today, yet you were serving army officer without first being retired. He had attempted to get retired earlier and had not been successful because it's not mandatory. The CIC will always have the last word. You might wish to retire, you might give reasons, however compelling. He can say in his wisdom, we still need you. So, he went through that problem. His relationship with the General Museveni has always been on and off, and it's largely because of his strong convictions and principles. So, he remained that way, was on trial. Tebitambula omanye ebintu bya court martial bamuzizaayo biki bakoze yawo this month biki. We would go there and cover stories at least that time. That's 20. So he remained that way up to 2016.
Those are 10 years.
Those are more even.
In detention.
Of no job, of confinement at the officer's mess. Everything else has stalled. You've been shunned by friends the way you know it in Uganda because it's risky. I'm told because he had a lot of properties, he would only survive by selling one or two every now and then to be able to sustain and support his children. So,
was there no room for him to apologize maybe to the friend? And for
there was. That one, General Museveni is always very magnanimous to a repentant foe. If you've been his foe, his opponent, and you are willing to apologize to him, he's always very quick to forgive. This has happened in the case of so many, including Sejusa, early alone in the 90s. So, Tumukunde, for him, he declined. I think he believed this was betrayal, this was a red line. So, 2016, fast forward, General Museveni again found himself faced with a lot of problems. Because many of the old friends had departed. The best he had for company were people like my sister, Evelyn Anite. You know, the seniors, all of them had fallen by the wayside. Because he has not listened to them, he has preferred to rule for life, and many of them had reason. The Bukenyas, the former vice president, were joining because he had something called the PNU. Then you had Sejusa, who had gone to exile in 2013, had all continued to coalesce around Dr. Kizza Besigye and his FDC politics. Then you had the Kiraje for the first time coming out in a very major way, galvanized by civil society, which had always been accused of indifference and not being interested in the politics. All of them had come together because they had seen it work in Kenya, in other places. This strong man, if you ganged up on him, you could maybe mount pressure and force him to quit. So there was that effort. That the problem of opposition has always been unity, let's come together. Then you had Mbabazi also falling out with HE, coming with his go forward, that convergence in 2006. An impression was created that General Museveni was this bad man, the old man, who has been shunned by even old comrades. And the younger people would be asked for you. If he can betray and disappoint Bukenya, who has been his vice president. These were now the talking points of Dr. Besigye. And I think General Museveni was feeling increasingly isolated. Really, to be honest. So, he now needed the allies, people who were willing to re-engage, former allies, you know. And General Tumukunde, I think personally, had like many colleagues of his, had problems with Amama Mbabazi. I think for a long time they believed that he was the man who was misadvising General Museveni to disregard them, to be hard on them on certain things when they make mistakes in the military. I think even when they would go to the meetings, I think Mbabazi would always vote with Museveni would always buy the Museveni view immediately at the beginning of the meeting. Maybe would even have briefed him prior. So there was that resentment, general resentment against him. I think General Museveni realizes that this Tumukunde has been squeezed and crushed for so long. But the man, because now Mbabazi originally had emerged to be the biggest threat. Dr. Besigye had been ignored. Even us in the media, we believed the biggest thing was now Mbabazi.
Mbabazi was the real deal.
Because we had Kofi Annan, we hear of this man of Kenya, Odinga, all of them getting involved, trying to help the opposition to build a massive coalition, similar to Naka, which had overwhelmed Moi in 2002. So people believed this was now a Moi moment for Uganda. So everybody was, the momentum was building. So General Museveni knew that Tumukunde fine has issues with me, but I think he resents Mbabazi more than me. I think to Tumukunde, I think in Museveni's mind, Museveni was a more acceptable person than Mbabazi now, who was on the verge of becoming a Kibaki, a Kibaki of Uganda. So Museveni reaches out and I think put things on the table because General Tumukunde had stagnated at the rank of brigadier. And here was an opportunity for you to be retired because you've been applying to be allowed to go for years.
Retire for long.
And here is an opportunity to be retired, not as a brigadier, but even with a bigger rank. I think those were the offers because from brigadier, he retires as general, full general,
He was promoted.
Yes. So he benefited from that in Mbabazi's moment, really, that crisis, that chaos which Mbabazi created, because now General Museveni needed to fight back, and you can't fight back alone. He needed allies. So a deal is worked out very quickly. Tumukunde is rehabilitated, as they call it in the military, because you had General Kayihura of the police. General Museveni and Mbabazi had been very good friends, to the extent that many people believed Mbabazi had been cleared by Museveni to Uganda stand.
Okay.
So Kayihura was there, taking him on, pushing back, but he's restrained because he's IGP. Those days, Uganda still cared about how it was viewed internationally. You don't want to lead a country, you the big man of the Great Lakes, who the State Department relies on to pacify the region. You don't want to be the one again who has an IGP, who behaves like a Secretary General of the ruling party. So Kayihura was fighting, but underground, using groups of young people to counter Mbabazi.
Some ropes were pulled between Jepam and Kayihura and Mbabazi as well.
A lot of it, Jackie, the wife of Mbabazi, had even nicknamed General Keke. He said his name is General Tiagasi. You remember those days when it became fashionable in Kampala for people to record the others?
Yeah.
The guys recorded the Kayihura. Small boys were up sneaked in by Jackie. The wife of Mbabazi, it was a very serious fight. Because in Mbabazi now it was increasingly clear he wanted to stand for president. And I think because for him his background is intelligence. It's one area where he invested a lot. It was a very serious fight. So now General Museveni needs somebody, at least a senior, obutagamba inabwani buivrini anite abakadde bonna bamuvuddemu kubanga wampisambi. That's how Besigye was now talking. And it was having a lot of effect on the population because he was yayogera kirabika Sejusa, because he would say your former vice president thinks you a bad person, akuvuddeko kati naye ali naffe, abadde akulira ebitongole ebikesi, coordinator Sejusa naye tumulina, abadde super minister wo Mbabazi naye kati tuli naye mu TDA. Kitegeeza oli musajja muzibu nnyo kati ng'abuuza abavubuka ba musaayi muto omusajja ngoyo muba mubeera naye kuki. If you can betray those, then how about you? So General Museveni needed really a counter message, needed a new messaging, needed to create some optics that look, I'm not the evil old man Dr. Besigye is painting. I'm capable of having some allies, some old comrades. So Tumukunde fitted into that moment. So he gets retired. All of us in the media, at trade paper, we used to be very investigative in our journalism. That was one of the things that we were really, really caught off guard. We had no idea. We were surprised, all of us. The guys did their negotiations, I think, in total confidence. And so he gets back. He gets deployed. He now was leading a special task force which had now the duty to counter Mbabazi. Because like I hinted earlier, they had believed Besigye was done. abaana bagamba kaweddemu because amawulire omanya amawulire gacreatinga nnyo momentum momentum y'amawulire front page zonna zaali ku Mbabazi for the opposition because everybody saw a Kibaki. You know, Kibaki is the man who around whom all the opposition coalesced in Kenya and overwhelmed the Moi candidate Uhuru Kenyatta, and they go to the presidency and Moi had to leave. So they believed this was that moment for Uganda. So now Tumukunde was facilitated. You know, he's a mobilizer incidentally. He knows a lot of people in Kampala. Even you as a journalist, you will be surprised one day he could even just call you unexpectedly and you'll be surprised. He knows how to do clandestine mobilization. And that had been in Mbabazi's strength as well. So you needed somebody, a thief, to go and help you catch another thief. So he gets deployed. He was even given a chopper. This man who had been demystified by incarceration at Summit View now has a chopper. You know, he has a chopper. He flies around because the country was so big. Time was of essence. This Mbabazi thing had been going on for years, even before it became public. So General Museveni needed to move very fast because time was not there. We are now in campaign season. Time wasn't on his side. So Tumukunde now needs a chopper. You know, he's very flamboyant, very intelligent, very sophisticated. Put together the team very fast and hit the ground running. However, you remember the thing which happened in Ntungamo. There is a day Mbabazi campaigned in Ntungamo, and then he was faced with very hostile crowds on his way from the venue in the evening. Then there was a fight. There was this man called Christopher Ine, who was his chief bodyguard. Fought with those people. Then General Museveni, remember when he said, that he has touched the leopard is something. That's how it started. Because General Waike said the NRM people are not supposed to be beaten. How do you beat supporters of NRM? And you know, Ntungamo is Museveni's home place. He's from Chamate. Madam is from Kalejeya. They are from that in Ntungamo. They are in their backyard. So Museveni pushed back. Aine was arrested. There was a lot of things. Those were the things of General Tumukunde. Endeavoring to counter-mobilize against Mbabazi. Because how do you go to Chamata and have a crowd? This is the home of the HE and the First Lady. So Tumukunde had to show cause, had to justify his relevance. So he does all of that and the campaign finally ended. Of course it changed. Mbabazi after, because when Besigye goes for nomination at Nambole, then people saw that the media has been lying to us. The ordinary people, the Wanyonges, are still with Besigye. Because he had a crowd from Nambole to come to Nachivo, where he had to have the first rally after nomination. It took hours. He was in Makerere. He had an exam. I missed that, but I watched it. You know, it was massive because from 9 a.m. in the morning, he was only able to reach this Nachivo towards 6. It was a big crowd. And now a lot of people started pivoting. My friend Nabila Nagai, who had endorsed Mbabazi, even when she was a flag bearer, insisting to carry the flag of FDC, pivoted very quickly and they came to Nachivugo. The Betty Kamias who had gone, because now the TDA project failed. When it fails, Besigye walked out. These Odongo Toes went and forced him out of the meeting in Ibugolobi of TDA. They were trying to make a decision on who the flag bearer of TDA. TDA was the alliance for the Democratic Alliance. Yeah, it was an effort to bring together all of the change-seeking forces, even those who are not political. That's why people like Mao, people like Godiba Mushabe, Niringi were playing a very big role in TDA. So, Besigye now things changed. Besigye was clearly now Museveni's main challenger in that election. Because of the momentum of that day of nominations. Even Mbabazi had a big crowd, by the way. But the Besigye one was bigger. And what pushed people to go back to Besigye? In between there, Bokenya pivoted. Gilbert again and went back to Museveni. Because Museveni now was also on the offensive. You are using my former vice president to show that I'm a bad man and the old man. I have him back. Bokenya went back. And of course he had reasons saying, you know, this TDA is confused. These Besigye and Mbabazi are chigas, but they are too selfish. They have refused to agree. Who between them should be the one to lead the opposition. He found some reasons really to justify his pivoting. So, katinga na ye yali yagenze. Kakati ogenda kwa Bukenya. Kuba kakati momentum ya Mbabazi. The Mbabazi people, the Mukasambi, that DP group. You know the DPs are very good at Mudomo. People think Bobi Wine yatandika ebyo ebigambo ebyavuma Besigye nnyo. It were the DPs ono project. Bano bakole ebyo bigambo bya DP sibya Kyagulanyi. people in his universe only took advantage and amplified the message. But those are the things of DP. They are very good at those things of intrigue, propaganda.
So that time round, mukasaba mbide bati Mbabazi.
Bali wonna ku Mbabazi kubanga DP official yo yasigala yo mu TDA. Because they had seen an opportunity to get rid of Besigye.
Okay.
Because the DP had always been the main opposition party. Something which Dr. Besigye had taken away from them. And they were hurting forever. For me, this is why I've even advised people in FDC not to beef Bobby Wine. Because people always decide where to go. You know, that party tried to make the very mistake which the DPs made. Instead of putting yourselves right and aligning with the new kingmaker, they wasted a lot of time undermining Besigye. So, they had put out a lot of messaging. Now, nga bwefuze radio bagamba omusajja ali selfish ekintu kimulemye tufunye Kibaki waffe, this is our Kibaki moment. Museveni is finally gone. We have Kofi Annan not been Secretary General UN. They had all of those, that goodwill of the Rairas, the people in Ghana. This iPod comes from Ghana. So basically, had really been demonized heavily even on media. Even me, I was a journalist, and if there was a press conference of Mbabazi and the one of Besigye, it's the Mbabazi one which would be even put live on NBS. Actually, that's how NBS started those things of live streaming also. It was that Mbabazi thing because the momentum was so high. A man called Professor Sempebwa. Sempebwa was the elder in TDA who had been given the duty to sit Besigye together and Mbabazi with the help of Kofi Annan and Raila to make sure one of the two bows out and becomes a running mate. Okay. So Sempebwa was very critical, very consequential in those processes. So one time they came from Bugolobi and my editor called me, said, please John V, run to Sempebwa's place. We are told, people used to say, white smoke, we are waiting for white smoke. White smoke is coming. So when people are voting the Pope in the conclave. So the editor said, I think the white smoke is finally upon us. Kubanga bavudde Bugolobi, meeting yewedde, they are driving to Sempebwa's office. There is going to be a press conference. For us, we are serious journalists, my friend. We had to run there. I thought I found the colleagues were already there. From any TV, from where. So, let me tell you something. If you know the office of Sempebwa is Eliwa Guru, ekizimba oyingira n'oyambuka bwoti. Kati Besigye n'Embabazi bajja mangu ne bayingira ne bagenda abamawulire batuleka ne bayingira. Twabalinda era tulinda. Bwe bavayo balina tu addressinga. Kati we bavayo era Besigye ate he was putting on that shirt of his which is very casual. Waliwo kino kyayagala nnyo ekirina akatonyi bwekiti ekyeru ekyemukono oba mimpi. Kibwekiti ekisaati kye ki t-shirt kikazo kye yali ayambadde era ng'akutte kabuka akasimu ke ne ka diary. Mbabazi for him is very flamboyant with this spectacles. So Besigye stood there. Did anybody pay attention to him? All of the cameras, everybody wanted to hear what Mbabazi because nga yatunda. Kakati, of course, Mbabazi is a man with very few words, and me I like him for that. Very confident. Did he say anything? He was just, you can't even, you ask a question, he answers with his own question. Did the journalist Besigye musajja watu yali agenze na drive out? Mbabazi talina kye yabagamba. Kati editor ambuuza wife story badde mugamba munaite tubitegeera. Besigye yagenze dda. Mbabazi talina kyatugambye. He says we should wait to hear from the girl who was called Josephine Nkanja, I think was the spokesperson of Mbabazi. Said the secretariat will have a press conference, will brief you about what has happened. So, kakati, I was saying that to demonstrate to you how the situation looked like. Now it changes. Mbabazi, by the time we went into the second week of the campaign, it was clear Mbabazi was in number 3, distant number 3. And now the DPs, the Maos had clearly died in their movie. This effort of destroying Besigye and turning him into lame duck had clearly failed. Now that's how people pivoted. That's how a lot of people won elections. These Lukwago, the same Uganda, were the kingmakers in this Kampala metropolitan. The Nambozes are his old allies, even when they are DP, all of them rode on his caravan and secured their election. And the FDC did very well in Kampala for the first time because the council was majority FDC. All of them. And because Lukwago, had been betrayed by his fellow DPs in the previous council when they joined the NRM to impeach him. So, Tumukunde the moment basically the moment the Mbabazi state had clearly been neutralized, again I think he took a back seat. Tetwaddamu kumulaba nnyo ku campaign trail. Kasita Besigye yabeera clearly ngali mu number 2. Nga Mbabazi, I think his assignment had been to neutralize and decapitate Mbabazi. Not Besigye, decapitate Mbabazi. Because Besigye is very popular among some of those soldiers, unlike Mbabazi. I don't know why they hated Mbabazi a lot. So kati Tumukunde somehow disappears, but he continued coordinating things. He had offices in Kamocha where he would do he's a very clandestine mobilize ebintu byebisinga sibya kamera.
Okay.
Era okumuyita ku show you now real okulwana okufuna appointment. Akola nnyo underground, tayagala nnyo kulabika. Very clandestine. So election is nezigwa. He was given the minister to be the Minister of Security. Actually he replaced I think Eri Tumwine. Tumwine came after him when he was fired.
Yeah, actually Tumwine came after him.
Wasn't it Jim? I don't remember there. So now he serves as Minister of Security. Security, you know, they have to collect intelligence for the government, for the country, to secure all of us through SO externally and things like those. They have a massive network across the country. So again, you had a very unnatural situation because he's the Minister of Security, having to coordinate all of the intelligence, but at police which is supposed to utilize this intelligence, leverage on it and secure the communities, was headed by Kayihura. Kayihura, who was a natch enemy, rival of Tumukunde. I don't know why they didn't like each other. So you have a very strange relationship. Each one of them gets an opportunity, goes to the CIC to accuse the other. And those days, people were the murders were very rampant. The Muslim sheikhs, the Bahigas, the Chirias. Then eventually it culminated into Kawesa himself being murdered, Felix Kawes. To Kayihura is IGP. Then this to Mukunde is... Now the president was being embarrassed in international media, asking them, guys, what are you doing? You are generals for heaven's sake. The two of you cannot secure the country. What's this? The pressure was too much. And I think there was a lot of blame game. Each would blame the other. Okay. That's how the things of Kawukumi start. For us, we've done our part, but police has a lot of wrong people. Sometimes ISO would have their thing. They can't share it with the police. They prefer to give it to the HE. You know, the relationship became very complicated. So in the end, Kayihura now, it ended so badly for him. There was a lot of bad publicity. Daily by New Vision, not just read paper, but even by the mainstream. People insinuating how you can't be a police, IGP who you know doesn't have the appetite to secure communities, who can have people within your universe, who can be involved in killing others. In the end, Kayihura was removed. And that, you know, seemed to be like a triumphant moment for Tumukunde. People even thought, some of us who are in media, speculated that maybe he was going to be the new either IGP or Kayihura would be replaced by somebody recommended by Tumukunde. That's what we thought, because really it was very triumphant for him. And this is 2018 there. You know, Kayihura, when he was removed, when he had his Anita Mongo moment, we even had this... we had the processions, border processions, because people were celebrating, thanking the president for doing something about Kawukumi, you know. And again, it was being speculated that this was being done by people in the Tumukunde network, you know, to demonstrate to the HE that you did the right thing. This is what the country wanted. Thank you for doing it. To even embolden the president now to proceed to try Kayihura. And indeed, he was tried, as we know. Locked up at Makindye, you know, put on trial for all of those months, humiliated totally. Faced sanctions and everything else. But somehow still, even after Kayihura's removal, the crimes continued to be committed. Communities did not easily become safe. So Tumukunde was there. Also, Ochola, who now had no relationship with Tumukunde, ended up being the new IGP. He had been the deputy of Kayihura and had been sidelined a lot because of his style of leadership, you know. Conventional, you know, he's a policeman by training, and like Kayihura, who was from the military. So now the man takes the thing, and I think the relationship between Tumukunde's ministry and the police now improved a bit. They tried to do some work, but then along the way, somebody called Matthew Luchikaire. You know, this is a great man. He's a historical. The NRA war started in his house. The meeting which they had before Kabamba was in his home at Makindye. So, his son died. A son of, I think he has a lot of girls. I think he didn't have many sons. His son died. And Luchikaire. And Luchikaire comes from Rukunjiri, just like Besigye, like Henry Tumukunde, Jim, all of those great people come from there. So, and those days Besigye was very popular. You know, he had gone on and inaugurated himself, declared himself president in a year. Never mutwale kalamoja, ate never musesema. Gambo bamanyisa wangula bansibe. Omusango bantwale mukoti. I justify why I'm the right president, you know. Manya was saying he is demanding for an audit which is supervised by the international community. He was really very popular. He had managed to keep the momentum, especially that defiance act of, you know, swearing himself in. He was very popular everywhere, Uganda. Then it was even more in Rukunjiri, because this is the Rukunjiri now, for the first time, where every MP and the majority of the elected leaders were now all of FDC. The momentum was so good for Dr. Kebini, his home district. So, the crowd, you know, the mourners had declared him the chief mourner. He would attend funerals, he would make speeches. Bobby Wine is now starting. He had just become MP the previous year for Chadondo. But he was still really not having his eye yet on the president. Because Bujiri had not happened, Rua had not happened. He was still in there, you know, trying to catch up with Dr. Kebi. So, Tumukunde represented, I think, government, because Luchikaire is really also a good friend of Museveni. But General Museveni didn't come. I think Tumukunde had his message or something to represent the government. In his speech, unexpectedly, he praised the Besigye. He praised the Besigye. He said great things about Besigye. He said this is the greatest Ugandan who has ever existed. And we knew this is something he would not get away with. It was really a red line. And within a matter of days, if not hours, he was fired. We have a one-man reshuffle. He was dropped from cabinet and replaced, I think, by Eri Tumwine. I think Jim came later. So that was the end of him. Now and he did not seem to be repentant, really. He did not seem to regret what he said at the funeral. So he continued to do his things quietly in Kampala, you know. And eventually, in 2021, Besigye had fairly been diminished by the Kyagulanyi group, that momentum of people power. He even made it clear he was not going to stand for president. And Tumukunde now stands for president in 2021.
2021, I remember.
He had people like Beatrice Chiraso. He had some people, Sarah Chiyingi, some people from the NRM. And we know how it didn't go well for him. He had a good message. He was the usual flamboyant and charismatic Tumukunde. But the momentum, I think, was firmly with Bobby Wine. Many of them just passed unnoticed, even the media.
The man of the moment.
Didn't pay attention to them. So he now disappears. Of course, he said many things again about Museveni, you know, being campaign time. But I think General Museveni ignored him, because if you're going to speak and you don't get the numbers, you don't have the cards, you don't frighten him. He was not bothered, so he ignored it, and so Tumukunde was there. Then once in a time, you know, he's very good at attending things of functions, social functions. I think as an intelligence person, he knows that such things have opportunity to really do intelligence gathering, network, get to understand what's happening. So he would only be seen on those functions. But he's rich, he's wealthy, you know, he has his money, he has land and the property in Colorado where. So he was there. Then, all of a sudden, we hear he's back to NRM, he's crawling back, he wants to stand in Rukunjiri. You know, I don't know what it is. Again, it seems he's ready to make again, re-engage with General Museveni. He goes into NRM. I think the people of the Jim universe were uncomfortable because here was another bull coming to Rukunjiri. He goes in there, he fights for the municipality of Rukunjiri, competes with Ingrid Trinao and Sam Mugumya, and eventually carries that day. He becomes MP, makes it clear he's still NRM, he's back home, he has never left, because in any case he didn't found another political party. But he has always been very complimentary towards Besigye, very respectful. I think maybe because he was one time wounded in the bush, because I understand he moves with a bullet in one of his, he limps. If you observe, it's, he has scars of the war. So he, even through the campaigns, really, he was always pro-Besigye, making it clear the way forward is for Dr. Besigye to engage with Museveni and get out of prison. He has been there. And now today, he's minister. But for me, this is what has surprised me. One, Lukunjiri, if we already have Jim. Jim is a security minister. He's somehow state, because he's under presidency. Now, Lukunjiri already has that. That's already good deployment. They have the other sides, the money of prisons. He's the money from Buyanja, I think, something there. He's also still there. Lukunjiri, he's being real over-deployed. So I did not think that General Museveni would have both of them to be ministers. I thought maybe my friend Paula Tuliahikayo, now the woman MP, I thought maybe had a chance instead of Jim, of Tumukunde. But I was surprised to see that he was on the list. But for me, this is why I think General Museveni had to do this. Because Tumukunde is a very controversial person. You cannot afford to have him to be a backbencher in parliament. There is a lot of pressure from the social media these days. Social media pressure ya manyi. Era luli nawulira owekitiibwa Nankabirwa yali ayogereye eki. That place is called what? That place is called of Simeon Subuga, Kasanda. Kasanda South. That man is Bisaso something who defeated the Noop man, the Kabuye. They defeated the Kabuye of Noop. Nankabirwa was a guest of honor on his victory party. And they said, Bisaso, Nankabirwa is a seasoned, he's a senior, abintu bina abimanyi. Ngamusibirira entanda mu speech ye. Namugamba ofuse MP wa NRM. Kino kitundu kyaffe twagala tukirikire iminge kikomewo mu NRM. Naye ne Nuupu tetudde. Naye namugamba ekizibu ekinene ky'olina ogenda kubeera ne pressure nyingi nnyo okuva mu bantu. N'agamba ababaka baffe bangi, and you believe her because she's a former chief whip. Ababaka baffe bangi bagenda mu parliament iyo ne bafuuka ba rebel MPs. Ne batandika okuseketerera government because of the social media pressure from the voters. Nti bwenjogera obulungi bajja kumpita ku NBS. Nkuba ekintu nga ndi controversial. Yali amukosoninga. Namugamba omanyi ekintu ekyo tukyeraliikiridde kigenda kubeera kizibu eri muzeeyi. I think Nankabirwa as an experienced person realizes that the people may not intend to be rebel MPs, but the pressure of the voters, because you don't have enough money for everybody. So there is a big incentive for many of them to account to their voters in the absence of enough money by being assertive, being hard on ministers, being hard on the prime minister in plenary. So you cannot afford to have Tumukunde. Tumukunde is really a very serious person. He just is there as some. He sits in a committee of what? Of national economy as a member. He goes to canteen. Isn't he going to talk to these to MPs? No, of course he will. And they know he's a member of the first family. So even when these are his views, that will give comfort to a lot of people to shelter around him. You don't want him to donate him to the opposition there. Having him ending up becoming the Ayatollah, the supreme leader now of the rebel MPs. He's very assertive. Okay. And he shed blood, like we've said, for this struggle. Tagenda kutuula wali, alabe minister nga messing up ebintu, nga backup bench aleme kuogera, either ajja kuyita meeting. Colleagues, this is something we need to talk about. This is unacceptable. This is wrong. You don't want to have a patron of some sort. On whom people can rely now to become rebel MPs and shelter under him. You don't want him to become a Winnie Byanyima of the past, of the 6th Parliament. Because, in this country, there are a lot of myths. There are things which we exaggerate. Somebody will say, but this is a member of the first family. He married there. He's a general. He's back to NRM. Maybe what he wants us to do, to take this stand on one issue, maybe this is what the president wants. So you don't want to take chances on that. He still has some energy. He can really create a movement which can really... Because imagine he gets a microphone from both now the speaker, or Tayebwa. He's a senior. He speaks for 10 minutes. He might make a speech which really can easily incite similar sentiments, which can embolden other members of the caucus to become outspoken. Because he speaks for 10 minutes, that's going to become a headline on any TV. It's going to become a page one thing in Monitor and maybe Observer or something. It becomes content that trends. You know, that becomes an incentive for others to do what he is doing. I think if you are Museveni, you have to grab him immediately, keep him busy in those things of old men and women, younger people, you know, gender, that's what it's all about. Culture. He goes to Geneva, he goes to international labor organization. You keep him busy there because he's intellectual. He's sure he's in money, he's a minister. You are safe, I think. Because in the cabinet...
Mbamutufu okugamba nti Museveni okwapointinga General Tumukunde kiyamba ye okusinga gundi bwe kiyamba General Tumukunde nti kyamugasa nnyo gyali okusinga gundi bwe kiri going to work. Baba,
that's a very good thing. That's what it is, really. Okay. Really. You know, because you don't want him again to become more sympathetic to Besigye. You remember I told you in 2018 what he did. Besigye is still incarcerated. His health is not good. The man might get a microphone and become a Semujunganda in parliament. You know? So you get him out of there because what does General Museveni lose if he's Minister of Gender? You keep him busy there for another 5 years. By that time, he will be 5 years older. The priorities will have changed. At least you go through the season. For me, that's how I understand his appointment, surely. So he's going to be there, he's going to do his work, he's going to travel, he's going to lead a team. I saw he has very good state ministers. I think they can work. Because Henry is also naturally a leader. He can give them very good leadership, and I think they are going to look forward to him as a father figure, somebody they can learn things from. And there is a lot of work by the what gender. It will really keep him busy, engaging with the international community. There are a lot of things of those labor things, those rights, workers' rights. You are bound by collective responsibility. There is a lot you cannot say anywhere in a funeral or even at a press conference.
Yeah, he has Jacqueline Mbabazi.
This is the wife of Jepam. Again, you remember the history we had there. They will find a way of working together. We realign, you know. Then who else?
Joyce Oken.
I don't know Chan, but I imagine he's one.
Then he has Honorable Simon Mulongo.
Exactly, like-minded.
Employment and restoration.
Mulongo is very intellectual.
And then Minister of State, he has Youth and Children Affairs. Honorable Lakisa Masi.
This is like Geno's daughter. This is a young lady. You need to go on Google on internet, and she's young. She's I think woman named Aleptongo.
Okay.
So she's somebody who really will look at Tumukunde as an opportunity to be mentored, to be guided, to, you know. I think they're going to be family, and they have a very good PS. You know that gentleman called Chibenge. Very seasoned. He has grown through the system of public service. I think they are going to work.
Okay.
And General Tumukunde cannot fail to get the audience of the HE. Is very senior. This really, General Museveni was very smart on this. Because now Jackie is also, you know, Jackie also is very controversial. That Mbabazi, Jackie Mbabazi. To the extent that many people think that without her, even Mbabazi was going to reconcile with Museveni and not run in 2016.
Okay.
It was really her project. She's very combative.
That is strategist.
Very combative. We don't have time. I would tell you about meetings where she really stood up. Because the time came when General Museveni, people would say, "Nabasajja bayina ebintu byabwe." Ebintu bya Museveni n'Embabazi bizibu. Tetujja bitegeera. Kati ekiseera kyatuuka nga seeke bijiremye. Nga bagamba mukama wange tusaba mu babiri mutuule. Mwe mumanyi ebyammwe mwogere. But Mbabazi always would come with his wife. Sometimes General Museveni would convince Mbabazi, and seems to be really, you know, making some headway. Then Jackie would argue with him. There is one time we caucus meeting there, one of the male members almost beat up Jackie, imagining that she was being disrespectful to the president, the party chairman, in the second meeting. She's very, very combative, you know. But now you send her there also, you are sure she's now older than she was in 10 years ago in 2016. She's been through a lot. Of course, we also learn. You push your husband to stand for presidents, and then it ends so badly, it ends in tears. You learn, you realign. Because at that age, she's MP for the older persons. With the Ofono Opondo. So that way, what do? You just be there and enjoy. She's minister of the the elderly affairs. It will keep her busy, you can be sure. We have Sage, that project called Sage. There will be a lot of work, and Jackie will really just, be there and enjoy.
Okay.
They should be able really to work with Tumukunde for sure. Nayekati, I wanted also to take advantage to tell you something. You saw Fono Opondo.
Yeah, Fono Opondo is that.
All of the things I've told you, Tumukunde could do as a backup bencher. There is a potential that Fono Opondo is going to become that. They have to manage him very, very fast. He's very combative, very independent-minded, very knowledgeable, highly credentialed. Because the credentials he has are almost similar to Tumukunde's. Because he has worked for Genome 7 as his personal assistant on information for almost 30 years. So if he calls the press conference and tells the NRM members to come and be with him to pronounce themselves on a certain issue in Parliament, they are going to come. They are not going to blink. They are going to just say, what time, sir? Where do we meet? Because they say, oh, no, Musajja wa president. President. That perception will always be there.
And for sure, I can't stop wondering how he needs to be on the list.
Opondo is, I don't know how Genome 7 is going to manage him. You seriously think he's going to just sit there and eat money? He already told you he's already reading the rules. He's already cramming everything. He's going to do Semujung and much more. So Opondo is there. The potential of Tumukunde really causing problems, using Parliament as a platform, there is a lot of it for Opondo to do the same.
Because at least for him, he's managed already.
He can easily end up being the Ayatollah, the supreme leader of the rebel MPs. I really see that. And we are going to a Parliament where you don't have opposition as such. So there will always be that vacuum. And the ruling party needs relevance. If Senyon cannot, rise to the occasion, there is that vacuum. You need to step forward and take on the government side. The way the Sechukubos have been doing, I'm very afraid that your Fono Opondo might end up doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, because, and it works. He will get the publicity, the younger people will like him. He will even help to revitalize the office of older persons. You have a name of older persons which we thought were just tokens. Now here he is, because I know there are things which he's going to be very outspoken about. And the ministers, the other side, I don't know if they will be able to counter his arguments. It's going to be it will be interesting to see how it ends.
So should we hope to see him at least part of the cabinet in case of any...
Genome 7 is really, that's why I told you from the start, you will have to keep changing these things. Because the law allows him. He can even fire them on Monday. Can make some changes. You will really keep learning.
Surprised to see him.
Because Opondo, to really just be back a bencher. I can't imagine that Opondo is going to sit in a plenary and doesn't say anything. He's going to sit in a committee and does not shout down at a minister, a floppy minister or a permanent secretary. Calling it, showing how shabby they are and things like that. I don't see that happening. But Opondo is not going to speak. He's really going to keep them under check. His sister, Salo Pendi.
Salo Pendi, yes.
He's also from Tololo, that outgoing woman of Tololo. You see, she's been. And the Genome 7 picked her also immediately. She came from a UID background. And she immediately was taken into cabinet.
Okay.
And that helps. You see, she only came back after 2021 elections to be a backup bencher. And you see what she's been doing. You remember she was with the Sechukubos to really try to speak out about Parliament. And indeed, she paid a price. You see, she lost her seat. And she's, I think, one of those people, the former speaker was not comfortable coming back to the House. So Opondo, these Opendis are simply they are just disciples. If we thought Sarah was very outspoken, you can be sure Opondo will be that 100 times more. He's really, I don't know what will happen, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.